Hello and welcome to a TaLAI podcast. In this episode, we're looking at written assignments, one of higher education's most trusted tools, and what happens when generative AI enters the picture. Not as a gadget, not as a trend, but as something that changes how we read, how we judge, and how we decide what counts as evidence of learning. Written assignments have long helped students think, argue, synthesize, and make knowledge their own. But since the arrival of generative AI, many teachers are experiencing something deeper than disruption. They are experiencing uncertainty. Uncertainty about evidence, about fairness, and about what their assessments now mean. To explore this shift, we spoke with 20 higher education teachers. Across their voices, a shared sense emerged. Something fundamental is changing.
The moment trust fractured.
Let's start with trust. Trust is usually invisible in assessment. You only notice it when it cracks. And for many teachers, that crack shows up right at the moment they start reading. So what does that feel like day to day? Let's hear how teachers describe that moment.
I realized I was no longer reading essays the same way. I read with suspicion first and curiosity second.
I find myself asking, is this the student's thinking or just a well-constructed response?
I don't want to become a detective, but that's sometimes what it feels like now.
Trust has always been an invisible part of the assessment infrastructure. Several teachers have described how generative AI has suddenly made this infrastructure visible and fragile. The issue is not only cheating. The issue lies in declining confidence in how the text is represented.
Better writing, weaker knowing?
The next tension is a strange one. On the page, the writing can look better. It can be clearer, more fluent, more academic. And yet many teachers describe a feeling that something is missing underneath. So how are teachers noticing that gap between polish and understanding? Here are a few voices.
The texts are often clearer, more fluent, more academic. On the surface, that looks like improvement.
But when I talk to students, the depth isn't always there.
I'm no longer convinced that a good essay equals good understanding.
Here lies one of the central contradictions. Generative AI often improves form while obscuring thinking. Teachers are left asking, if writing no longer reliably indicates understanding, what exactly are we assessing?
An old question, now unavoidable.
For some teachers, generative AI hasn't created a new problem. It has made an old one impossible to ignore. What were written assignments really doing for us in the first place? Were they evidence of learning or evidence of performance? Let's listen to how teachers frame that question in their own words.
Were we ever really assessing learning or just performance?
Writing was supposed to produce thinking. Now it might bypass it.
I worry students are missing the struggle that helps ideas take shape.
Written assignments have always balanced multiple purposes: learning, assessment, disciplinary enculturation, and gatekeeping. Generative AI forces teachers to decide what they value most and what they are actually trying to measure.
Fairness, inequality, and the gray zone.
Now let's talk about fairness. Because even if your intentions are good, the day-to-day reality can be messy. Rules are unclear, practices differ across courses, and students ask what's allowed in ways that don't always have one stable answer. So how do teachers experience this grey zone in real teaching situations? Let's hear what they say.
The rules are unclear. Students keep asking what's allowed, and we don't always agree ourselves. Some students use generative AI confidently and strategically. Others are afraid or don't know how.
That creates new inequalities, even when intentions are good.
Without shared guidance, responsibility shifts to individual teachers. That leads to uneven expectations across courses and ethical discomfort. Is fairness about equal rules or equitable conditions? And who's responsible for making sure institutional policies match what's happening in the classroom?
Control, workload, and professional identity.
Another theme that comes through strongly is workload and professional identity. GenAI is often sold as efficiency. But what many teachers describe is not less work. It's different work and often more of it. More checking, more explaining, more redesign, on top of everything else. So what does that pressure feel like from the inside? Here are a few teachers describing it.
I feel more responsible than ever, but also less in control.
Checking authenticity, redesigning assignments, explaining generative AI use, it all adds to the workload.
There's pressure to adapt quickly, but little time to reflect.
Generative AI does not reduce the role of the teacher. Paradoxically, it intensifies it. Human judgment is becoming more central, more demanding, more visible, and also more vulnerable.
Redesign, resistance, and experimentation.
So what happens next? Most teachers are not saying, let's get rid of writing. Instead, they're trying to protect what writing is supposed to do, while adapting to a new reality. That often means moving away from the single final product and towards process, dialogue, transparency, and context. But it also means experimenting without full certainty. Let's hear how teachers describe what they are trying and what they are still unsure about.
I don't want to abandon writing. I want to reclaim it.
I'm experimenting with drafts, reflections, and oral explanations.
I'm still unsure what will work, but doing nothing isn't an option.
Across the testimonials, one point is clear. Most teachers are not calling for the end of written assignments. They are calling for redesign. But redesign comes with uncertainty, risk, and the fear of getting it wrong.
Holding the question open.
Before we close, here are two final voices that capture the mood many teachers described.
I don't think we've lost writing, but we've lost our certainty about it.
Maybe that's not entirely a bad thing, but it is uncomfortable.
Generative AI has not given higher education clear answers. It has given us sharper questions. What counts as evidence of learning? How do we balance trust and verification? And what does responsible assessment look like when technology can write but cannot learn? The future of written assignments is not settled. It is being negotiated course by course, teacher by teacher.